A volcano is one of the most unforgiving natural phenomena on Earth, towering sentinels of fire and fury. These geological giants command respect and fear in equal measure. Their craters simmer with molten rock that glows like the heart of the planet itself. A relentless furnace capable of consuming almost anything that dares to enter its domain. Mats, imagine the unthinkable. If you were to slip and fall into its magma-filled center, your body would be engulfed in seconds. The intense heat-reaching temperatures of over 1,000 degrees Celsius would cause immediate vaporization, with your form quickly bubbling up, melting away, and disappearing without a trace, as if you had never existed. Slurt. The raw power on display is both mesmerizing and terrifying. So, if volcanoes are so extraordinarily effective at erasing matter, has anyone ever tried using them as a disposal site for something far less dramatic, but far more abundant, our everyday trash? How exactly would we even transport mountains of waste to these remote, hostile locations? And what hidden dangers would this audacious plan unleash? This is What If. And here's what would happen if we dumped our trash into volcanoes. Americans alone generate about 254 million tons of trash per year. That's an almost incomprehensible volume equivalent to the weight of thousands of fully loaded jumbo jets, or enough garbage to fill countless football stadiums from floor to rafters. From household food scraps and plastic packaging to industrial byproducts and electronic waste. Our modern lives produce a relentless stream of refuse that strains landfills, clogs rivers, and contributes to overflowing dump sites around the globe. Because volcanoes might seem like nature's ultimate garbage incinerators. A free, endlessly hot solution that could melt and obliterate waste on a massive scale, leaving nothing but ash or vapor in its wake. The idea has a certain primal appeal, like harnessing the Earth's own fiery engine to clean up humanity's mess. But in reality, the notion is far more complicated, far riskier, and ultimately far less practical than it appears on the surface. Volcanoes might look like perfect natural furnaces from a distance, but they are much more dangerous and unstable than any engineered incinerator. They are unpredictable forces of nature, not reliable disposal facilities. Not to mention, most active volcanoes are located in remote, inaccessible regions, far from the cities and towns where the trash is actually generated. Overcoming these obstacles would require enormous resources, and even then, the effort might cause more harm to our planet than it solves. Would the benefits of volcanic waste disposal truly outweigh the chaos it could create? Or would this dramatic solution simply amplify environmental problems on a global scale? Let's break it down step by step to see exactly why dumping our trash into volcanoes is a concept that sounds brilliant in theory, but collapses under scrutiny. 2. The first major obstacle in our quest for volcanic garbage disposal would be finding a suitable active volcano that could actually handle the job without catastrophic side effects. There are only about 1,500 potentially active volcanoes scattered across the world. These are spread unevenly across continents and oceans, with the vast majority situated in isolated areas like the Ring of Fire in the Pacific, remote islands, or rugged mountain ranges. For obvious reasons, human safety and the sheer power of eruptions, most of these sites are nowhere near populated centers. That geographic reality means transporting hundreds of millions of tons of trash annually would demand a logistical operation of staggering proportions. Trucks, trains, ships, and perhaps even specialized aircraft would have to ferry waste across vast distances, through difficult terrain, and over open seas. Fuel costs alone would skyrocket, and the infrastructure required, new roads, ports, loading facilities, could run into billions of dollars. Delays from weather, natural disasters, or simple supply chain breakdowns would be inevitable, turning what seems like a simple dump run into an endless, expensive headache. Even if we manage to haul the trash to a volcano's doorstep, we might discover it isn't even the right kind of active volcano for safe disposal. Not all volcanoes behave the same way. And the differences matter enormously when you're talking about throwing in cold, solid waste. The ideal candidate would be a shield volcano, a slowly acting variety characterized by broad, gently sloping sides and iconic lava lakes that gradually bubble and spill out onto the surrounding landscape. These volcanoes typically produce fluid, basaltic lava that flows rather than explodes, offering what might appear to be a more controlled environment for waste introduction. Shield volcanoes, like those found in Hawaii or Iceland, represent the calmer side of volcanic activities, steady, predictable in their own way, and less prone to sudden violent outbursts. Unfortunately, shield volcanoes are not very common. You're far more likely to encounter their volatile cousins, known as stratovolcanoes or stratvolcanoes. These are the dramatic, cone-shaped peaks that dominate many famous volcanic landscapes. Stratovolcanoes are infamous for their explosive eruptions, triggered by the dangerous buildup of pressure from trapped hot gases and thicker, more viscous magma. When that pressure finally releases, the results can be devastating ash clouds that blot out the sun, pyroclastic flows racing down slopes at highway speeds, and lava bombs hurled through the air. In other words, they are probably the last place on Earth you'd want to establish the world's largest open-air dump. The contrast between shield and stratovolcanos highlights just how picky we'd have to be in site selection, further narrowing our already limited options and driving up costs and complexity. Let's imagine, for the sake of this thought experiment, that we get extraordinarily lucky. We locate a stable, active shield volcano with a persistent lava lake, and we begin the monumental task of moving our trash there. Before we even worry about the long-term logistics of an entire nation's waste stream, consider the immediate human element. If you were one of the first waste collectors hired for this job, driving massive trucks or operating heavy machinery right up to the volcano's vent, you'd quickly start to question every career choice that led you here. Vent itself is a treacherous, otherworldly environment. Poisonous gases such as sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide constantly belch upward, creating toxic plumes that can cause respiratory failure or sudden disorientation. Lava splatter erupts unpredictably, sending globs of molten rock flying like fiery shrapnel. Projectile rocks and boulders, ejected by even minor pressure releases, rain down without warning. 2. Heat radiates so intensely the protective suits would melt or fail within minutes of exposure. The ground itself is unstable, cracked, shifting, and riddled with fissures that could swallow equipment whole. Working conditions like these make the job not just unpleasant, but potentially lethal, demanding constant vigilance and specialized and extremely expensive safety protocols that still couldn't eliminate every risk. Things only grow exponentially more hazardous once you actually start throwing material into the volcano. In 2002, a group of Ethiopian researchers conducted a small-scale test by dropping a single 30-kilogram bag of trash into the lava lake of a shield volcano. The results were dramatic and explosive. Lava lakes may look serene from afar, but their surfaces are fragile and unstable. When something cold and solid like a bag of household garbage pierces that glowing crust, it triggers an immediate chain reaction. Moisture trapped inside the trash instantly flashes into superheated steam. Gases trapped within the magma expand violently. The sudden temperature contrast causes rapid fragmentation and pressure surges, resulting in powerful fountaining and explosive bursts. Even that modest 30-kilogram experiment produced noticeable eruptions of steam and lava. Now scale that up to the volume generated by an entire country, 254 million tons per year. The resulting chaos would be orders of magnitude greater. To put it in perspective, even small rockfalls tumbling into lava lakes in Hawaii have been known to hurl molten material 85 meters straight into the air in spectacular, violent fountains. Picture entire truckloads of garbage, causing repeated massive detonations, geysers of lava and toxic vapor shooting skyward, endangering anyone nearby and potentially triggering larger instability in the volcanic system itself. Even if engineers somehow devised a way to introduce trash gradually, and safely perhaps using remote-controlled conveyors or aerial drops, the problems wouldn't end there. You'd still face severe air pollution generated by burning waste without any modern filtration systems. Unlike controlled industrial incinerators, a volcano offers no scrubbers, no chimneys with emission controls, and no way to capture harmful byproducts. Plastics, chemicals, and organic matter would release a toxic cocktail of dioxins, heavy metals, particulate matter, and greenhouse gases directly into the atmosphere. Prevailing winds could carry these pollutants hundreds or even thousands of kilometers, affecting air quality, agriculture, and public health across entire regions. Additionally, not every material would completely break down in the lava's heat. Certain metals, glass, and refractory compounds might survive partially intact, only to be ejected during future eruptions or lava flows. These polluting remnants could then spread across the surrounding landscape, contaminating soil, waterways, and ecosystems for generations. The scenario becomes nightmarish when you consider specialized waste like nuclear materials. Radioactive components would not simply vanish. They could be redistributed in unpredictable ways, creating long-term contamination zones far worse than any landfill leak. Add to all of this the massive carbon footprint created simply by shipping hundreds of millions of tons of trash across continents and oceans to remote volcanic sites. Every truck, ship, and plane involved would burn fossil fuels, releasing additional carbon dioxide and accelerating climate change, the very problem we're often trying to mitigate through better waste management. The entire operation would likely generate more greenhouse gases than current landfill or recycling systems, making the solution environmentally counterproductive on a planetary scale. In the end, while the idea of volcanoes as ultimate trash destroyers carries a dramatic, almost poetic allure, the practical realities render it a terrible idea. The combination of logistical nightmares, worker safety hazards, explosive instability, uncontrolled pollution, and increased carbon emissions far outweighs any perceived benefits. If we're determined to harness heat to process our waste, why not pursue far safer, more controlled alternatives? Modern waste-to-energy incineration plants, equipped with advanced filtration and emission controls, can burn trash while capturing the released heat to generate electricity and district heating, turning a problem into a renewable resource. Or, pushing the boundaries further, we could explore radical concepts like launching garbage into space, though that raises its own set of orbital debris and cost challenges. But those are topics for another what if. Dumping our trash into volcanoes might sound like an elegant, earth-powered fix, but nature's incinerators are far too wild, too remote, and too unforgiving to serve as our planetary garbage cans. The next time you toss something in the bin, remember, some ideas that seem fiery and brilliant are best left simmering in the realm of imagination.